Welcome to Naptime Brand Time, where I come to you every Monday at 1:30 p.m. We're doing Tuesday today, but normally every Monday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific Time, and I answer your questions about branding and design. And some business in general, some marketing. A lot of it just has to do, honestly, with the conversations I'm having with clients and friends and just trends that I'm seeing over the week, and then honestly, and then also from like questions that I get sent and asked. And so please ask questions. It really helps me come up with ideas for content, and I would love to answer them for you. So if there's ever anything that I do that you would like to learn how, or if you have any questions about branding, then please ask. Today I actually thought about doing, for my very first live video, I was kind of like, this will be a really nice like intro into who I am, but it was, I think, just a little too vulnerable for me to share live at the very beginning, and not even necessarily that I'm getting like that crazy, but I just, I don't know, I felt a little too personal to share at the beginning, and so now that I've been doing this for a little while, I feel like I can kind of handle it a little bit more. And so I have a few notes here, but I'm really just going to kind of talk off the cuff and tell my story. And then I also really want to share what I learned. So I can hopefully help anyone else who ends up in my situation in the future. I have some other friends that have recently been talking about leaving their full-time jobs or not really sure where they want to go or what they want to do. And so I hope this is helpful. I guess just to start off, about 6 months ago, almost exactly, I quit my job of 7 years. I was there for 7 years. I was working for a dessert distribution company. It was getting to be pretty big, and I was the creative director there. It was a really awesome job, a really great gig for a long time. I got to do some really cool gigs. I did Nick Carter's baby shower, and I, was on The Bachelor. I got a few, if anyone watches The Bachelor, I did a cake, on-air cake tasting for Jade and Tanner for their wedding, and so I was on The Bachelor, not as a contestant. I was, coordinating photo shoots and working with some really awesome brands. I was working with Sugarfina all the time, designing for them. I was working for Bloomingdale's. I was working for Nickelodeon animation. That was really fun. And so I was going to do some really cool stuff, but, and I got a ton of brand experience and came into my own. But then I had a baby. And I left on maternity leave for a few months, and while I was on maternity leave, some huge things shifted at the company. And so, hey, Katie, thanks for jumping on. Just talking about my job of 7 years that I quit. I had been there 7 years, and I went on maternity leave, and some really huge things transitioned at the company. And so when I came back, my job was not the same. The company structure was different. They had let my assistant go. I was working under a different boss. I don't want to say all of this was because I left for a few months, but I want to say that a lot of things really shifted when I left. And so I'm not going to go into how shitty the job became, because that's not really what this is about today. But needless to say, I knew I needed to get out of there. I knew that this was no longer what I wanted to do, or the company I wanted to do it with, honestly. But I wasn't really in a place to leave immediately. I had, developed a lot of postpartum anxiety, and because of these shifts in my position and job, and the job that I thought I was going to have maybe my whole life, all of this changing on me, I developed really bad anxiety, and I just honestly wasn't in a place that I could leave right away. And I didn't feel comfortable, and so it is what it is. So what I just decided to do was start laying some groundwork for myself. So I was like, if I can't leave now, then what can I do to at least set myself up for the future to be able to leave? And so that's what I'm going to go through today, is the smartest things that I feel like I did during this time while I was working full time to be able to set myself up to leave. But once I started doing all of these things, and then things came to a head at my job, and I had to quit. I had to quit one day, and if you want to know the full story, then please message me. I'll be happy to give you the whole thing. I will say it was very satisfying, which, everyone hopes to have those times in their life that they get to leave, and I got that moment, and so I'll just say that was walking out of that building, I've never felt so free in my life. But I will say that the reason that I was able to do all of this was because I had done these few things to set myself up. The reason I was able to leave confidently, and the reason that I was able to, yes, I quit. It really was. But the reason I feel like maybe even I was confident enough to leave in the first place, leave it all, was because I had done these few things. So if you know anyone who's in this situation, or you yourself are in this situation that you know that you need to make a shift, whether it's even in a relationship or, just a big shift in your life or changing cities, here's a few things that you can do to set yourself up for success. And so I just want you to know that you can do it. You can do it. You can make big changes. You can get uncomfortable. You can do it. So here are the few things. So the first thing that I did during this time, while I was still working full time, but knowing that I needed to make a change in my life, was I started doing a lot of self-discovery. And it's stuff that I honestly had never really taken the time to do. So I was reading a lot of books. I was reading books about habits. I was reading books about, I did a lot of personality typing. I was literally just trying to get to know myself again. I was a new mom, and knowing that I needed to make a big career shift. And so I got to know myself again. This is when I got really into the Enneagram. If you've talked to me, then I've probably mentioned the Enneagram to you. So if you want to talk about that, please reach out, because I'm a huge nerd about it. But that was really pivotal for me, was discovering the Enneagram. And then I decided to answer a few very specific questions for myself. So the questions that I answered for myself was, what do I want to do every day? What do I want to do every day? What will I be excited to do every day? There's no such thing as a perfect job, but what will I feel enthusiastic about for the most part, and what will I rarely dread doing? So what is the thing that if any task comes up associated with this job, I won't just dread it. Because that's what I was doing with my job full time, is I was dreading every day. And then who do I want to work for? So at the time I thought maybe I would want to shift to move to another big company. And so I was trying to kind of gear myself up for that. But I slowly discovered that I want to work for myself. I want to have flexibility. I want to be able to mom when I want and work when I want. And so who do you want to work for? I answered, who do I want to serve? So who do I actually want to help? Who are the people that I feel super passionate about helping? And then also, who do I like working with? Who do I like working with all the time? It's you can have the best job in the world, but if the people that you work with suck, then it's not a dream job. It's obviously not a dream job. And so who do I like serving, and who do I like working with and working for? And then the key question is, what will people actually pay me for? I've decided that I've wanted a certain kind of lifestyle, which means I want to make a certain kind of income, and who's going to pay me that? And how can I help those people? And so that's usually where things meld together beautifully. It's like that Venn diagram where they cross over, and it's what do you love to do? And then what will people pay you for? And find that thing right in the middle. So a lot of self-discovery. So that was the first thing that I did that I'm so glad, and I would not trade that time for anything, honestly. The second thing I did, once I kind of answered those questions for myself of who do I want to work with, what do I want to do, is I started learning. I started researching. I basically decided I was going to take the next few months and send myself to business school. And so once I decided that I wanted to open a business, I was like, I got to learn how. And so I took a marketing class. I took an online course. I joined a mastermind. I did a lot of stuff even before I had quit my full-time job, and really even before I started legitimizing myself as a freelancer and as a business. I learned. And so not everyone has the opportunity to do this, but if you do, I can't even tell you how much it helped me, and how much it helped my confidence in coming out of a really vulnerable time, was to feel confident in what I talk about and what I'm selling and what I'm teaching, and then also to feel confident in opening a business. So, nothing can really prepare you fully for opening a business, but I at least felt like I had some really good solid basics down. And so that gave me some confidence just to jump in when I needed to. And then the last thing that I did that I was key, and no, you will have to do this if you want to have a business. Tell people what you do. I started telling people what I do. I just started putting it out there. And it's so funny what a simple task that is, but how many people I see that runs businesses or have the idea for side businesses or, like dream about side businesses, but that people don't even know that they bake, or people don't even know that they create art, or people don't even know. And so I started going like, do people, I assume people know that I'm a graphic designer at this point, but I went to school for acting. And so I'm like, do people even know that this is what I do now? And so I made a portfolio site for myself. I updated my LinkedIn. I started a public social media task. I just saw your message. I started to put a social media account. That is the difficult task. Is telling people what you do. That's honestly something that I became so passionate about that's literally what I went into business to do, is now teach you how to tell people what you do. Because it's hard. It feels kind of vulnerable, especially when you're at the beginning and you don't feel super confident yet in your skills. I was lucky to have kept on some full freelance clients for the 7 years while I was at this at my full-time job. I had people on the side, and so I at least felt comfortable in the freelance space. But it was really scary for me. I didn't have any sort of customer platforms. I didn't have any email marketing set up. I had people that were friends of family friends and actual family that I was running their websites for, but it wasn't anybody that found me online. And so that was a really big update for me. That was a really big change. And so I made a portfolio website, and then I just started providing value. And that was the other big thing too. It's telling people what you do and then starting to provide value. Somebody who's talking about stuff you need, give them a few tips. I started offering just in conversation, friends, saying that they wanted to start a business, and I'd be like, I can help you. I'm really cheap right now. That was a really easy way to get started, honestly, was just telling people that I'm really cheap right now, and or doing a few things for free. And it was people just started coming out of the woodwork, and all of a sudden it's I literally have friends from kindergarten that I'm doing work for, and my business coach is I'm doing a logo, and hey Monica, and so it was really exciting. And so it was just literally telling people that what I do. Ended up probably by the time that I quit as a freelancer, I was making an extra couple $100 to $1,000 a month, which was definitely not enough for a full-time income, and so not enough just to kind of be hey, I'm totally fine quitting my job. But it was enough that I knew that if I can do this on very, very part-time hours, then I know now that if I can devote full-time to it, there's going to be a little bit of a transition period, but it's I can do it. I can do this. People are interested in what I'm selling. And so I was able to kind of test the market. And so maybe I should have actually even called that number 3. Number 3 is I tested the market. I told people what I did. I started offering free work. I asked for testimonials. And so I tested the market. I wanted to see if what I'm selling was viable. And it turned out it was. And so I was able to feel a lot more confident going into business because I already knew that it was stuff that people wanted. And I did start out offering way too many services. And so, let's see, Katie, it can be vulnerable to tell people, but I think you're proving how it can be worth it. Oh, good. Yes, that's right. Yes, it can be vulnerable to tell people. Yeah, it's so vulnerable. Oh my gosh. And I honestly, I approached it very vulnerably also. And I think in a sense that helped, is I just said, hey, I'm going to get really vulnerable here, but I just quit my job and I feel really, not quite sure in what I'm doing yet, but I know that I'm good at this. I know that this is a service that you need, and I know that it's a service I can provide. And so even when I didn't feel confident in everything else, I felt confident at least in my own skill set, that at least I was able to talk on that. And so if you don't really know what you're doing yet, talk about what you are comfortable with, what you are confident in. What are the things that you know you can share now, that you don't have to pretend to know everything, and I still don't know everything. I will never know everything. There's no way. But start with what you actually feel confident in sharing. And start with relationships too. That's huge. Start with relationships. So that was the last one, was test your market, was tell people what you do, start putting it out there, see if people are interested, offer some free work if you need to, if you can afford to, tell people you're cheap, offer stuff, but take the time to really learn your skill set And really, honestly, the biggest key is confidence. Like, if you can just get enough confidence to tell people what you do, that's really the key to starting a business. That's literally all you need. Is you need like a website or like some sort of platform that you're selling through, and you need the confidence to sell through it. That's it. I mean, especially if you're a service-based business, obviously if you're a product, you need all the stuff for your product. But like, in the end, it's all about that confidence of you just to start saying, you want me to do that for you? Great, that'll be $200, or whatever it is. It's being able to feel confident in what you're selling. So anyway, that's a very long-winded explanation. I'm a little off the cuff today, so I'm sorry for rambling. I will say that the dumb thing that I did that I really want to keep you from doing, if possible, is I doubted myself. And so kind of going into that, building up that confidence is, I doubted myself for a really long time. To be fair, I was under a boss and in a position where they, was the type of boss that really wanted you to question yourself. And so mission accomplished. He did really well with that. But it was for too long. I doubted myself for too long. I doubted my skills. I doubted, even just starting these like live videos and stuff. And it's just, if you feel like you are good at something, then you are doing people a disservice by not giving it to them. I know that what I have to offer is really valuable. And it got to the point where I felt like I was doing a disservice by not offering this to even just my friends and family, like the people that I love. By not offering to do their websites and their logos and stuff that I know that I could do for them and that I could kill it and that like I could take their businesses to the next level. And I'm sitting there looking at this, people that I love and following their passions. And I doubted myself. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I should just jump in. I don't know. And so it was like, basically as soon as I put it out there, it was like the universe was like, like, there you go. That was it. Everything fell into place. It was like I was able to get clients amazingly quickly. Like we put it out into the world, into the universe, and it was like the universe responded. And so life is too short to spend years, even months of your life. It's just too short to spend time unhappy. If you're feeling like you don't have a purpose, you do. Take the time to figure out what it is. It'll be worth it. And that's all. That's what I'll leave you with for today. So that's my long rambling story. Thank you all for listening. If you ever want to talk about this stuff, I feel super passionate about helping people get out of hard situations. And I feel super passionate about helping people do what they do best and like putting themselves out in the world. And like, if you are really good at candles, I want to help you make the best candles. I want to give you a kick-ass website that's going to get those candles immediately made. I want to help you find the people that are so excited for your candles because you're meant to do this. You are meant to do that. And so as soon as you feel like you are passionate to do it, you've got to jump in. You're doing a disservice to yourself and to your potential customers by not. And so, yes, that's it for today. Thank you all so much for jumping in, for tuning in. I will for sure be on next Monday, on time next week, 1:30 p.m. PST, Pacific time. If you have questions, please ask me, please chat, send them to me, and I would love to know what you're curious about. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Love y'all. Bye.